Over under on how many radio shows Shea Dixon doing today? I got it set at 12, and I'll take the over.
I'm hammering the over.
We know he's on all ESPN properties here, ESPN Baton Rouge. I'd imagine that he's on around the Gulf Coast. Some Houston, Atlanta hits, probably maybe a Nashville and Birmingham hit along the way, maybe even a stop in Orlando. 12 radio shows today, over, under. Over?
Yeah, I'll take the bet and send me your money. I'm hitting under unless my popularity really booms. I do have a couple of others today, but I am going for a very rare feat. I'm not sure if it's been done. Y'all can confirm it. We might need Rivers to Google this, but has anyone appeared on all 4 of the ESPN shows
In the same day. On the same day. That's big. Off the top of my head, I can't think of one. Maybe Hunt back in the day when we were trying to get him.
There would have been no hanging with Hester though.
Yeah, no, I'd imagine that this is the first. Do they get Jordan Burch?
Okay.
Man,
off the top rope.
Let's just go deep.
We got
then.
one question for you. We can get you in and out of here quick if you need it.
No foreplay, huh?
That's right.
Just, let's
straight
do
to
this.
the back, Dixon. Let's roll.
At least buy me a drink first, guys. I mean, Jesus. Look, I was just writing up our prediction piece, and I'm as 50-50 as it gets. And I'll paint it for you this way, and I always say it. Track what a recruit does and not so much what he says. And now, granted, Burch has not said a whole lot. He doesn't do a lot of interviews. He's not playing the game like that in any way. But last spring when he visited LSU, people on the LSU side said, hey, look, this kid, Jordan Burch, a 5-star D lineman, is way more interested than people realize. And at the time, everyone thought, well, he's going to go to South Carolina or Clemson. He's from South Carolina, Columbia, and Clemson's obviously the other team in state that is big time and recruits those type of players. And it was sort of an afterthought. But lo and behold, LSU got him on his first official visit in October. That was for the Auburn game. His official visit to Bama was when LSU won in Tuscaloosa. And then he committed to South Carolina. And remember, in December, Georgia felt like they had a chance. Alabama was in it. LSU still held a good bit of confidence. And he said, hey, look, I'm staying home. This is what I'm doing. And didn't sign. So then that left the door open for all the aforementioned teams to make their push, and only one of them got him back to campus, and that was LSU, and it was on an unofficial visit. He pays his own way, him and his mom, who is they are the decision makers here. His mom's a very instrumental part of his recruiting process, and they've done a good job of sort of going through everything together and keeping it quiet of what way he's really leaning. And because of that, he comes and spends 3 days at LSU, and all the kind of reviews were positive. It seemed like he had a good time, able to see a 15-0, kind of the result of that. A Heisman sitting there, a national championship trophy, all that. So he goes back home. That was last weekend or 2 weekends ago. Well, this past weekend, he spends Friday to Sunday on his official visit at USC. So had he not gone on that USC visit, it would have been super telling. Like, how do you just not go across town and hang out at the school that you're already committed to when you've never gone on an official? But he went, and, at the basketball game, everybody cheered, Jordan Burch, come to school here, and hangs out with Muschamp and them all weekend. So we're kind of in a spot where we've seen this before, right? And LSU's never been where South Carolina is right now. I mean, a 6-win team or something like that. But we've seen kids go from U-High to other schools and just say, hey, look, and do it at the end and say, well, you know what, I never really wanted to stay at LSU or in Baton Rouge, or I wanted to do something different. And I'm kind of right there with Jordan Burch. I mean, that is exactly the situation he's in. If he stays in Columbia and goes to USC, he's going to college with the same dudes he went to high school with. He's got the same friend group, and often we've seen that work against teams. And LSU and U-High is kind of a good, I guess, parallel to what that's like. So I've given you the background. That lays it all out. So I could see it going either way. Why didn't he just sign in December? I think he was still thinking about things. I think that I'm probably leaning a little bit. Like, if I had to pick, I'd pick USC. But I think he's going to spend the next 24 hours really thinking about it, because a kid who's living in a town like that, he hears it all. The radio, you guys talking, the newspapers, everybody is saying, well, how long does Muschamp have? They need staff changes. 6 wins a year ain't good enough. And LSU's coming off a 15-0 season. So having that bargaining chip is something we're not used to LSU dealing with, and we'll see if it can't pay off big here in the end. I'm not going to be shocked if it went either way, but my prediction, very hesitantly would be that he stayed at home, and really, I guess, no fault on LSU there, but that's kind of just what my gut tells me.
Is Orgeron doing the heavy lifting on this one?
Well, yes, and he's done the heavy lifting for a good amount of time, and I think that really has worked out well, given that, Meatball was a D-line coach before Bill Johnson, and he had recruited Jordan Burch, obviously, and they didn't have a D coordinator yet. They knew they were getting Pelini, so I'm sure they talked to Burch about it, but he wasn't on campus yet when Burch visited, so Bill Johnson's been big, but he hasn't known Burch as long as guys like Orgeron have. So I think it was a good thing that Orgeron sort of always spearheaded it, because when you went through this back half of the season and Aranda's gone and Meatball's gone and you've got him on campus and you're trying to get a new DC, it helped, that kind of the one guy he knew best was Orgeron.
Shea Dixon talking to us about recruiting, day out of signing day. The other big target that is kind of up in the air tomorrow would be McKinley Jackson, the four-star defensive tackle from Mississippi. He's signing early tomorrow, Shea, 9:30 a.m. How you feel?
I probably feel a little bit better on Burch and their chances than Jackson, which is weird because Jackson is from Mississippi, South Mississippi, and he's been committed to LSU before. He was committed to LSU right after his freshman year of high school. That said, he was on an official visit at the same time Jordan Burch was, so they both know they're being courted pretty heavily by LSU here on the back end. But Bama sort of always, in the past few months, I thought, had like an inside track on him. I thought that they had really grabbed his attention for whatever reason. Then they hired Roach, the D-line coach out of Ole Miss, to be the D-line coach at Bama. They know each other well, so I think that helped them in the end. A lot of people are really buzzing on A&M right now. He was at A&M this past weekend. I like to joke that Jimbo, after a 7-5 year, also has 75 million reasons why he needs to get a dude like Jackson. I mean, you need difference makers if you're going to live up to that contract. And I think that they really rolled out the red carpet, are doing everything they can. Some people in College Station are a little confident. But I'm just have this gut telling me that I think Bama is the team that's out front there. And LSU had always been around. Like I said, he had been committed at one point, but Meatball was a main guy recruiting him. Obviously, with Aranda gone, he hasn't met Pelini. So I think it's kind of an odd transition point there for both guys. Now, granted, Ed Orgeron plays a massive role in recruiting defensive linemen, so that's good, and Bill Johnson's still here. But I'm going to say Bama, but I'm really thinking that I like their chances with Burch a little more. So neither of them would shock me if they went to LSU, but I'm probably think they have a better shot at this stage, and it is just two teams, LSU and South Carolina, that I would pick Burch.
All right, Shea, we got about 30 seconds here. 6 spots available, 5 people committed. Let's say neither of those guys come. What do you do with that final spot?
Well, yeah, and 2 of those guys, Cameron Jackson and LaRondo Johnson, are grade academic risks at this point, and they've confirmed they're not going to sign. So LSU's going to sign at least 22, and that could give them a few spots. And really, look, guys, grad transfers, save them till next year. Sign a qualifier late in the game that you don't have to risk losing the spot if he doesn't qualify. Make sure he qualifies first. So I would say those are your 3 options. The most likely thing I expect is a grad transfer to will be joining the program in the offseason and see if they can't bolster their depth for 2020.
A busy day for Shea Dixon and Go 247. Keep up with all the information over there at 247sports.com. Go 247. You can hit Shea up on Twitter at Shea Dixon NB. Listening here at ESPN Baton Rouge all day. He'll be on every single one of our local shows dropping knowledge. Thank you for starting off with us, man.
My guys, I appreciate it.
Later, man. There he is.